In the forgotten corners of Eastern Europe lies a forest that villagers call the Silent Forest. For centuries, it was a place of fear, avoided even in daylight. The stories say kings once used this land to bury prisoners alive, and their restless souls never left. Old scrolls from monasteries whisper of rituals, sacrifices of blood, and creatures buried beneath the soil, neither man nor beast, but watchers of the earth, who punish anyone daring to claim what belongs to them. Generations stayed away, until one poor father ignored the warnings. His name was Erich Volkov, a man broken by war and famine. With 2 children and a sick wife, he had nothing left except hope. When he was offered a wooden house deep inside the forest for a price so cheap it sounded like a blessing, he thought destiny had finally smiled on him. The house stood beautiful, yet lonely, its moss-covered roof blending with the wild trees. Villagers warned him, "That is not a house, it is a cage." But Eric believed he was giving his family shelter at last, a safe home where laughter could return. The first nights passed peacefully. His wife's face softened with relief, his children slept without shivering in the cold. Eric told himself the forest's legends were just superstitions. But soon, strange things began to stir. At night, stretching sounds came from inside the walls, like tiny claws crawling through the wood. His children complained of whispers in the dark, the voice of a little girl asking them to play. Yet no such girl existed. His wife began to see shadows crossing the halls, only to vanish when she chased them. One evening, Eric explored the basement, where the air felt colder than winter. There, carved into stone, he found ancient circles and symbols. The ground was marked with ash, and from beneath the soil came a deep, unsettling breath, as if the earth itself were alive. That night, cries echoed from the forest, shrieks not of animals, not of men, but something in between. The children clung to their mother, while Eric gripped his axe, determined not to be driven out by fear. At dawn, he discovered fresh footprints around the house. They were not human. Long, clawed and heavy, they circled his home like hunters waiting for prey. As days passed, the house grew restless. The walls groaned as if something moved inside them. The smell of damp soil grew stronger, seeping into every room. His wife begged to leave, her eyes filled with terror, but Eric refused. He had fought hunger and war, and he would not surrender to shadows. But the forest had already chosen. On the 13th night, neighbors heard unholy screams from the direction of the house. When they looked, the windows flickered with strange light, and the walls seemed to twist and shiver, as though alive. When authorities entered days later, the family was gone. The house stood empty, yet marked by violence. The wife's torn shawl lay on the floor. The children's toys were broken, scattered across the hallway. Eric's axe was buried deep in the wooden door, as if he had swung it at something forcing its way in. But of the family, there was no trace. Only the walls remained wet with soil, as if the forest had swallowed them whole. Even now, the house still stands, decaying under the weight of time. Historians argue that the Volkovs were victims of disease or bandits. But villagers shake their heads. They know the truth, that the silent forest does not forgive trespassers. It belongs to ancient creatures, watchers that crawl beneath the roots, rising when someone dares to disturb their eternal claim. The cheap house was never a blessing. It was bait. And Eric's family was the latest offering to the forest's hunger. So remember this tale whenever you see a lonely house for sale, standing too cheap and too silent among the trees. Ask yourself, why was it abandoned? Because sometimes, history is not written in books. Sometimes, history is alive, hidden in the shadows, waiting for the next soul foolish enough to call it home.